Round 6 about to get underway. Essendon taking on Fremantle. You're watching AFL on Fox Footy.
In the middle of the ground, over the top was Simmons, taken by Blumfield. To centre half forward, out hard was Brown, comes down to Harvey, quick kick inside 50, Lloyd and Parker, who'll be wearing him closely like a glove early in the game. Eventually the ball's gone over the line and out of play. Matt Pavlick's lining up on James Hurd.
Yes, I thought it may well have been Parker, but Parker's gone to Lloyd, and young Polak, a big job too, picking up Alessio.
Crowd building, 20,000 and growing. Simmons. Ball comes to Polak, putting under pressure early. Simmons gathers, then ran himself into trouble. Ball spills out. Is that a throw? It is. Fremantle Dockers will get a free kick.
Jeff Farmer trying to get 50.
Farmer working deep in defence, comes out wide. Kick missed its target, and that is a very poor disposal early in the game for Fremantle.
Tim, that's just lazy. I mean, you want to set up properly from the start, and from a quality player like Farmer kicking across the ground, you've now given Essendon a chance to have a pot at goal.
Inside the forward 50 for Essendon. These two teams just kicked 10 goals between them last week in round 5, albeit Essendon on a very wet Anzac Day clash. Carosella knocking it forward. Parker just gives it up to Harvey for a clever goal. His first goal in league footy. What a way to start for Shane Harvey. We mentioned that he's a goal sneak. He likes to get down in front of goals and get deep inside the forward 50. Terrific skill there, Ross.
Well, just to sense the occasion, and that's where you mentioned Jeff Farmer's kick. I did. I mean, you give the opposition a chance from a boundary throw and a stoppage to get a goal, and this young fellow is clever enough, and Essendon set up very well. So the opportunity comes through a poor, I mean, just a bad disposal, poor football, and well done to young Shane Harvey.
Well, he was taken number 18 in the 2001 draft. He was the Bombers' first pick, and he has started his AFL career in style. Essendon with the first goal. Over the top came Simmons. Coming in quickly off the line was Jacobs. Good tackle. Ball goes to ground. Past McManus. Here's Crow. Stepping round now. Player free. Spots him. Good kick. Seagate. About 60 metres from goal. And that kick is a poor kick because, well, I stand corrected. It looked as though I was going to drop short and Johnson was going to cut off in front of Longmuir. But in the end, it was a well-weighted kick.
Well, it was, and there's no doubt. I thought initially when Crow turned from the centre, he should well have come towards the member side, if you like, towards the cameras, because he had McPhee on the go. But he went the other side, found Seagate, and this kick had the carry. Mark Johnson, I beg your pardon, tried to chip in. The ball carried him beautifully.
Justin Longmuir has kicked 8 goals, 8 this season. He's going to kick from about 30 metres. It's a terrible kick off the boot. It's a woeful kick, so that makes it 8-9. And I guess that's one part of his game, Ross, that lets him down, his set shots at goal.
Well, there are times when he's very impressive with his finishing and his setup, and other times he can be a little lazy. That time he finished in between and still didn't get the right result.
Point pass out wide to Wellman. That kick's not so good. Here is Longmuir out to redeem himself. It's a good shepherd from Farmer behind play, then kicks inside 50 over the head of Medhurst. Medhurst intelligently knocks it back. The Bombers out hard. Here's Heffernan. Numbers on the boundary line. Wellman under pressure. Masidi goes to ground. Jason Johnson. Good tackling by Fremantle, but good run by Heffernan. Good tackle by Cook. Plenty of tackles. Eventually the ball's gone over the line and out of play. Good pressure by the Fremantle Dockers, but also good running in numbers by the Bombers.
Yeah, both, Tim, and good pressure through tackling by 3 Dockers players. Essendon looking to just run the ball out of defence, which they like to, and ease the ball around the other side, but good pressure.
Ball in. Here's Cook. Johnson. Fremantle have a loose man in defence, and that is Brown. And here he is. He just stood off the pack. They both go to Shep, and they leave the ball for Carosella. They don't want to do that very often. He's very dangerous. Hurd somehow gets it over to Carosella from off the ground. Ball spills out in front now. Grover, quick hands to Bell. Fremantle relieve the pressure. Hugging the boundary, short pass is good to Simmons. Quickly moving along, player in the middle. Norrish, plenty of space in front of him. Makes use of that space. From the centre square, Long, one-on-one contest. Longmuir coming in, running hard. Take the mark over the top was David Hill. He's playing on quickly now to Fletcher. To the outer side. Harvey waited for it. Coops got in the way. Free kick off the board. It's going back, and the free kick will go to Troy Cook.
Playing his 50th game for the Fremantle Dockers today, Troy Cook, former club champion. So early stages first quarter. The Bombers have the only goal on the board thanks to Shane Harvey in his debut. Cook very patient in the build-up. He's looking to go back 20 metres to Lee Brown. Decides to go forward. Here is Longmuir out, and up goes Justin Longmuir. Very good mark, patient build-up, and he has a chance to redeem himself from a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, Tim, I don't think our viewers would have seen the run that Pavlich had from half-back, trying to create something. He's playing on Hurd. He made Hurd run all the way down the ground, and Pavlich just jumps in front here. You might see him there, he's in picture. He's run from almost the 30-metre line of the defensive area, so he's run 130 metres himself, trying to create something.
Justin Longmuir from just inside 50. Again, he's missed. So 2 set shots. Is there a technique problem there, Ross Glendinning?
I just sense at times, Tim, and it's not been too critical of the young fella, but he works so hard to get it. He just seems to lack a real purpose on occasions when he shoots a goal.
Not a lot of momentum when he's running into kickers there. Anyway, there's some momentum here with Johnson. Poor kick. Brown slips catch. So Lee Brown may have a big afternoon. He is the loose man at the moment. Switching play. 2 players to pick from. Crowd backs himself. Poor kick off the side. McPhee's got to go back. Over the back was Medhurst.
He's clever, Matthew. He knows, he reads the flight of the ball so very well for a smaller player.
Too far out for his distance, is it?
Just, I would suggest, just. So you want to try and give it off.
Well, it's a purposeful switch. McManus took his eyes off it. Puts himself under some pressure, and Simmons likewise. Caracella around Coops. Very clever. They run now, so the error from McManus is being paid for. McVeigh towards Lloyd. Down in front, recovery needed. Lloyd's there, can't get the handball away. Crowd calls for a throw, but on the up, Polak got it from Parker. In turn to Carr, and they're away now. Pavlich decides to switch again. Already we've seen that 4 or 5 times in this first quarter by the Dockers. Norris gets one high.
Jason Norris, whose wife Kate gave birth to twins last week, hasn't had much sleep. Molly and Grace have kept him up. And now he's back on the AFL field, and the Bombers will certainly keep him awake. As Matty Carr takes a lot of marks, leading mark taker for Fremantle last year. I think he's second only on the list this year.
Big job for Norris too, Tim. He's running with Jason Johnson.
Lee Brown's been very busy early. Again, Carr finds space. The true centre-half back spot. Now, Pavlich has run for him out wide, and that's where he's looking. Now he's coming out to honour the lead, and Pavlich has the ball. So a patient build-up and needs some movement down forward.
This is the difficult thing when you do chip around across half-back and wait for someone to bob up if the Essendon players drop back, which they have. Everyone's one-on-one at the moment. You just got to be patient, but the umpire's going to blow his whistle in a minute. There it goes.
There it goes. So now Pavlich told to get on with proceedings. Kicks it inside 50. Longmuir up, no mark. Ball off hands. Eventually over and out of play. We've got plenty of time left first quarter. It's a funny old game. It looks like Essendon are certainly trying to cash in on the mistakes of the Dockers. They've made a couple early.
Yeah, no more so than the one from from McManus when Medhurst passed across the ground. I mean, you should take those marks.
McManus underneath the pack. Wellman over the top. Ramanauskas heads up play, a brilliant footballer, left foot kick, pinpoint pass, Jacobs, well done McPhee, got a hand in. Jacobs looks up, Hills run on, AFL logo, members side, hand pass to the run of Masiti. Not much back there for Essendon, but Lloyd is there, but he has 2 to beat in the pack. Well done Lee Brown, got back beautifully. And Lee Brown's been very, very busy early. He wants to play on and does. Comes out wide, off hands. The Bombers have numbers. Longmuir's outnumbered 3-1, and he did well in the end. He's sought the safety of the boundary line over and out of play.
Just over 12.5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Boundary throw-in. Longmuir been very busy. Hill wins that. Cook in front. Couldn't take possession. Pavlich right over the top of James Hurd. Smothering Hurd, as is his job so far in this first quarter. Essendon 6, leading the Dockers 2. Plenty of players around this ball up, except for behind the umpire because he's cleared that. Over the top came Coops. One-on-one there. Wellman back in the side, gets a free kick. There's no doubt that Essendon have missed Sean Wellman in the couple of weeks he's been out. Blumfield. Mercedes, play running for him. Mark Johnson into some space. Alessio the target. And, well, he doesn't get a play on. Good call by the umpire. Didn't take control. Now he's under some pressure. Mercedes to Blumfield. Blumfield. Lloyd again the target. Spoil came from Carr. Here's Lloyd. McVeigh wrapped up by McManus and going nowhere. There'll be a ball up inside the Essendon forward 50.
Fair bit of slipping and sliding too, Matthew, in terms of matchups. So there's a couple that I will mention. Matthew Carr is running with Carosella, Troy Cook with Ramanauskas, and we mentioned Norris and Johnson.
Plenty of footballers around this footy. 40 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Tap down, Cook through traffic, did well. Good enough to get a hand pass to Parker. Hand pass low to the bootstraps of Carr. He looked up, had nothing doing. He kicked to the boundary line, but it might work out here for Fremantle because Pavlich has time. Long kick. Farmer did well, got to the front. No free kick. Johnson and McVeigh sorted out to Hill. Mercedes, the run from Wellman through the middle of Subiaco Oval. The pass is good, and Blumfield has it between centre and centre half forward. Numbers getting back. Now Alessio's camped inside 50. That was pretty lax marking by the Dockers. And Alessio will go back from 50 metres out. Should not have too much problems. There's no breeze to speak of. He's going to go short. And Harvey just takes the mark. Not a great deal close up. But the boy's pretty confident, having kicked a goal with his second kick in AFL footy.
Yes, and turned with his back to the goal, which is, I don't like that at all. A lot of the coaches don't either. And in fact, he had Barnard on. If he had well have turned around more quickly. Still, he might still kick the goal, Tim.
Inside 50, 6-1 in favour of the Bombers. They've been camped there for a while. Here's the Harvey kick. It's trying to work its way back, but not enough. Just to the far side. So he's got all the score for the Bombers, Shane Harvey. 117, Fremantle 2 points. And the crowd building, almost 23,000 on a sunny Saturday afternoon at Subi.
5-point margin. Pavlich to bring the ball in for the Dockers. 35 possessions to 32. They've had a bit of the ball, the Dockers, but mostly across half-back. Coops. Obvious tactic by the Dockers at the moment. There's a possession game. McPhee to Bell. Pavlich again. Now to his defensive 50. Short. Parker has run on away from Lloyd. Gets to the wing. Medhurst the target. Uses the body well. Gets a pretty unkind bounce in the end, but as Ross mentioned, he's very clever. The kick needs to be spot on, and it is. Terrific play by Paul Medhurst, and gives Longmuir his third shot at goal, Ross.
Well, from Medhurst's point of view, Longmuir has to kick this, and Medhurst, such poise for a young fellow, not only just to trap the ball, but then to spin around, get himself out of trouble. Watch this, cleanly, then has the good vision to look up. He didn't look towards goal with a big U-turn, he looked across the ground, and Longmuir must kick this.
Already has two behinds. This one a bit further out. Perhaps he'll get a bit more on it, and he does. He's got one. Fremantle hit the front, and it's third time lucky for Justin Longmuir.
Well, again, Matthew Pavlich, the player who's doing very well across half-back for Fremantle on James Hird, using the ball wisely, coming down the outer side. And Parker was the recipient of the pass from Pavlich. He kicks down to Medhurst here, just eases his opponent under the ball, and here just cleverly, see his eyes just look up there very quickly. Longmuir gave him the opportunity, and the kick is right to the forward's advantage. Even someone like Dustin Fletcher does not have a chance to get hold of it.
Justin Longmuir has the entire Dockers score, 1 goal, 2. As Trent Crode is sitting sidelines, and Shane Harvey has the entire Bombers score, 1-1. So 2 dominant players on the scoreboard. Simmons grabs it out of the air. Cook to Bell to Norris. A chain of hand passes. Patient build-up. Seeger, good mark under pressure from McVeigh.
He's got the job on McVeigh, Tim. Good match-up for him.
He's got Simmons, who's run on for him, who started all this by grabbing it out of the air. He's marked on 50. He's looking inboard. He decides to kick to the top of the square. Medhurst is in best position. Well done, the long arms of Go-Go Gadget in. Fletcher does well. There's that long raking punt kick to centre wing. Brown. Lee Brown's had one heck of a game. That is his 4th mark. He's gone short, and Norris has the footy. 8.5 minutes to go. Norris back to Simmons. Take 2. Runs on 50. This time he says, I'm going to have a shot at Malone!
David Hill, on 2 occasions now, has allowed Troy Simmons to run to the outer side on his own. Hill has run through the middle of the ground across 50, trying to cut the ball off short circuit. It cut the angles. It's not working. You've got to match up. If Simmons gets it once, which he did before, he can't get it a second time, which he did on that occasion. And his finishing is a lot better than people think. It's a very good start for the Dockers.
It certainly is, and a marvellous finish by Simmons has brought this crowd into the game now. The Dockers fans quite vocal. 7-point margin. They've kicked 2 in the last 2 minutes. And here's the man that kicked the last one. He doesn't get a good bounce though, Simmons. It falls for Mercedes. He wants Johnson. He goes off the ground. Hill, caught. Quick hands from Johnson. Wellman, possession number 6 already. Coops going back with courage, and he gets a good bounce and keeps presence of mind to give it back to Carr. Well played, Coops. Carr's kick needs to be spot on. It's Miss Simmons. It falls for Hill. Hill now to the lead of Lloyd. Numbers back though, and there's that man we spoke about, Lee Brown.
It's working well, Matthew, as a spare man. They're using him as the fella who reads it so well, and he's got his body, and that's 5 marks. It's what they wanted.
Yeah, 2-on-1 contest here. Henneman against McPhee and Norris, and that is an excellent effort by Aaron Henneman. He knew what was going to happen there. They were off the Dockers, managed to keep it in the area.
The thing about being a spare man, it sounds very easy, but unless you put yourself in the right position, you can get caught out. Here we see Lee Brown just reading that beautifully and allows Parker to stay one-on-one with Lloyd and body him out of it a little. So it's working well for the Dockers so far.
Inside 50s. 9-7. Fremantle's favour. We'll have another ball up.
So the player spare at the other end for Essendon is Danny Jacobs.
Troy Cook off the ground, busy early, as he always is. Here is Alessio, busts through to Blumfield, to Hurd, who straightens things up. Off a step, kicks to the goal square. Now Henneman's in best position here, reaches over the top, the spoil, comes to Lloyd, goes through traffic, dishes off beautifully, back to Harvey, snap on goal. I think he's put it through, he has.
Fantastic goal from Shane Harvey, and for a comprehensive wrap of all the great goals and marks in the round, join the winners on Sunday nights at 7:30 on Fox Footy.
Tough on Shane Parker there, but he was standing about 10 metres away from Matthew Lloyd when that punch came forward. You can see there Lloyd was able to just push through the traffic and get a quick handball off, and Harvey again proving very elusive. Stephen Coops has the job on him at the moment. He must tighten up.
Dream start for Shane Harvey in his first quarter of AFL football, already with 2 goals. And the margin back to just the solitary behind. Entertaining start here to Saturday afternoon football at Subiaco. McManus, Johnson, so good in close. Just did enough to get it to Ramanauskas, who gives it off to a running Mercedes. Tripped, advantage paid to Hill. He steps around quite nicely, and then the kick lets him down. Way out in front of Lloyd. Parker right with him. Lloyd, terrific effort. Got it to Johnson, to McVeigh. Henneman on the lead, doesn't mark, ball goes to ground. Alessio comes in, he's wrapped up. There's Johnson, who's been involved in 3 contests already since that last bounce in 3 different areas of the ground.
Crowe's been off the ground for a little while. Matthew now he's coming back on, and Jeff Farmer's going to have a spell. Good effort by the Fremantle backup, but also terrific knock on by Lloyd to allow his players to run onto the footy and run towards goal.
Rotation of the Fremantle Dockers players. Doesn't matter who you are and how much you're getting paid. You spend some time on the bench. Comes to McVeigh, throws it on the boot. That's a very close effort, through for a minor score.
Yes, he's just come off the footy, off the ball as such, and James Hurd's gone on the ball, so McVeigh now being picked up by Pavlich.
About to tick into time on first quarter, all tied up at Subiaco. All but 2 players. That kick is a very ordinary one by Matthew Pavlich, intended for Polak, and Matthew Lloyd sniffed it out and took the mark.
They're so dangerous, Tim. Look, it's easy here. It's one of the toughest kicks, and we say that, but it genuinely is. When you look up from ground level, there's just a sea of bodies, and you must be, if you're going to go short, you have to make sure you're 100% on, and particularly if you've got someone like Hurd or a Lloyd or that ilk of player in the vicinity. As McPhee comes off and Walker on for Fremantle.
The pre-goal shot routine of Matthew Lloyd gets the heart rate down. He does not get rushed. Relaxes. He's kicked 20 goals, 9 for the season. Now he's kicked 21 goals, 9.
And the fellow you don't want to give the ball to, as we see McManus now come off, and young Daniel Haynes on for his first run for Fremantle. Yet to be an interchange for Essendon, but the player you'd least like to want to give it to in that situation is Matthew Lloyd. So accurate, and that's the little lifter he'll need. Hasn't had much of the footy in his first quarter, although he's had a few touches in terms of knock-ons and handballs that have been creative. But again, Fremantle a mistake that cost him a goal.
The first for the afternoon for Matthew Lloyd. And as we mentioned at the top of the program, he's kicked 18 goals the last 3 times these two teams have met. So he's averaging 6. Fremantle fans will be hoping he's below average this afternoon. Johnson, he certainly isn't. He started well. Hurd, his 3rd disposal. Jacobs. Wellman. Here's Lloyd again. Got it. So good. Marking under pressure at pace. Too far out.
Yeah, Johnson's run on. Matthew sort of jump in there. He elected not to go to him. He's undecided, which is unlike him. Oh, still time.
Well, Johnson,
Paul picking up.
Hazelby actually kept running. He ran off Johnson, expecting that he now wasn't going to be used.
And now it's young Daniel Haynes having to take the mark. And Wellman, the fellow who kicked the ball to Lloyd, is the Essendon spare man at the moment, so they've used him well.
Johnson backs himself, runs himself into trouble. And that'll bring a smile to some Docker fans, and he's kicked it out on the full, and he gets a little bump on the way just to make sure from Lee Brown.
So the Dockers trying to get out of trouble here. There's Norrish.
We try and switch, but it's pretty well clogged up by Essendon.
Let's go to Lockie Reed, boundary side.
Freo physio is working on Jeff Farmer's right hamstring. They've been rubbing it for the last 2 minutes.
Norris to centre wing. Carr flies up off hands. Longmuir, the tallest man in the pack, end up roving the ball. There's Bell under pressure. Ball spills. Blumfield, the bomb is so good in tight. McVeigh to Masiti to Fletcher to Hurd. There's not a bunch of stars in a pack. Now they've almost turned it over here. Now Fremantle can make them pay. Longmuir's run on. Brother Troy picks it up. The ball will land in front of Justin Longmuir. He gathers, being chased by Ramanauskas. Good tackle by Ramanauskas. Stumbling and staggering. He's under pressure, Longmuir. Hand passes to Hazelby. They've got back in numbers now, the Bombers. Troy Longmuir loves a long goal from 60 metres. It's a very poor effort. And Jacobs has taken the relieving mark inside 50. We go to Hurd. The Bombers get out of jail.
Heffernan now running, and he's got McVeigh over the top. Enough space to run onto the ball. Clever kick, Johnson. So often running hard. Long. Fremantle with the numbers though. Brown or Pollack. Brown with mark number 6. I wonder what the record in the AFL for marks is in one game. He could end up with 25 or 30. Pavlich. Haynes. Crow couldn't take it. Here's Medhurst. Backs himself brilliantly. Keeps it in play. Lovely handball. Out of bounds. It's coming back.
The boundary umpire, Matthew, was about 15 metres away. And as Medhurst punched that ball in front of him, it just tipped over the line. Then as he grabbed it back again, his arm did go over the line. So a pretty reasonable call, even though it took all the excitement out of it.
I think Trent Crowe's glad he's been brought back because he hit the post.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Let's have a look.
Knocks it in front, just goes out there, you see.
Good decision.
Yep.
But he is proving quite dangerous up forward, Medhurst. Very clever. Hazelby from over the top. Bell steps around Caracella. Needs to get some depth on the kick to the goal square. Medhurst again, holding on. Medhurst free kick.
Tim Gossage doing his umpiring beautifully here. He's pulling his own shirt, saying he's definitely holding on. But it was a good call. Medhurst, he will make the opposition player go to him because he attracts the football. And for a smaller play, he holds his ground very well. Look at this. good effort against Fletcher. Twice his size and
Terrific.
experience, 3 times the experience. Deserves a goal.
Rising Star nomination from round 1. Kicked 7 goals, 4 coming into this game. But importantly for the Dockers, to tie up the scores. That post is getting a workout at the moment. And the margin will be 5 points. Paul Medhurst, twice you've seen him one-on-one with Fletcher and come away with the ball as Fletcher clears for the Dockers and finds Jacobs.
He's the spare man in defence. He's had plenty of the footy in his opposite number. Lee Brown likewise for Fremantle. Kick to centre-wing, Pavlich up, decides to spoil from behind. Over the line and out of play. Dockers fans happy with the outcome.
First change for Essendon. Rioli on, Henneman off.
Just for his second game, Dean Rioli, as Henneman sits down. Throw in centre wing. Dying stages first quarter. Justin Longmire did well. Masidi losing his footing. Hazelby. Alessio was grabbed around the ankle. No free kick. Had time to get up and give it to Hurd. Pushing the back. Umpire saw it. And James Hurd get a free kick.
It was late, but it was there, Tim. They've got to pay those. It's in the rule book. It's not just because it's James Hurd. It was there.
Here it is here.
Gives Fremantle a chance now to set up in the defensive half.
James Hurd looks up and kicks to a nest of players. Crode backing back, outnumbered 3-1. Ball spills. Pavlich, good gather. Hand pass to Crode. He wants to fend off and does. Gets close to the man on the mark inside 50. Medhurst and Fletcher again. And Medhurst outsmarts the season campaigner. And he's having one heck of a first quarter. Is Paul Medhurst.
Don't worry about the mark, son. Get back and give the ball off intelligently. It's hard on the kid, but you don't need to carry on like this. Twofold. It might help him concentrate, but it also takes away the opportunities for players running at you quickly.
He'll be pressed to make the distance. He was certainly this far out earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, when he passed McManus, who dropped the mark.
And here is a similar pass. Crode. Good punch away. Johnson. The Bombers can clear, but for how long? Rioli and Coops, they get a bad bounce. Coops is first back to recover. He wanted a free kick. He feigned for one. Harvey's hand pass, loose to Ramanauskas. Good chase by Hayes. That's a very good tackle. Ping for holding the ball.
He's made an impact since coming off the bench and finds Pavlich, who's run on well. Speaking of running on, here's Grover. Needs to get length with the kick because there was 4 Essendon players who dropped in short. He was looking for Longmire over the back and didn't have enough on it. Fletcher cutting in. He wants Hurd. Seagate backing into him. The class of James Hurd. Just 30 seconds remaining. It's a 5-point margin to the Bombers. Time for another goal for them, though. Ramanauskas. McVeigh. Here's Lee Brown. Well, he had a half volley this time instead of a mark. Needs to keep it in front of him and keep his feet. Play on. Wellman. Inside to Johnson. Johnson now out towards Lloyd. 1-on-1. Parker right with him. Lloyd will see it over the boundary line. Parker will be happy with that.
It's good pressure. Very much so from Matthew with just a few seconds to go. They wouldn't want a goal scored here, Fremantle. They'd want to bottle it up.
Well, we saw Harvey kick one earlier from a boundary throw-in. He's got 6 seconds to do so again. There he is, over the top of Walker. To no avail for the Bombers because it is quarter time. And a very entertaining first quarter indeed. Essendon 3-2-20 leading Fremantle 2-3-15. Kevin Sheedy has seen his debutant Shane Harvey kick a couple of goals in his first quarter of AFL football, but it's the Bombers by 5 points at quarter time. The second quarter from Subiaco. Beautiful day, a good lively crowd. They're enjoying a good contest. The Bombers by 5 points. Simmons to do battle with Hill. Wins it easily, Simmons. He was looking for Cook on the run through. Jacobs gets underneath it. Here's Rioli. Coming Barnard. Couldn't get on the chest. At ground level, Grover does well. Got his hands free. Simmons wants help. Gets it in Hazelby. Lightning quick to Cook. Johnson read it. Wrapped him up. Blumfield wants the boundary and succeeds.
Fremantle persisting, Matthew, with Lee Brown as a spare man. Usually sides go to man him up. Barnard's gone to him, so it's 2-on-1 with Brown and Grover with Barnard.
Well, Well, that's been working so far for Fremantle. 6 marks for Brown. Cook got it from Bell, gave it to Norris, and Norris gives it to someone in the crowd who happened to be wearing a Fremantle jumper.
It was a very good mark too by that young boy in the crowd.
And for the Essendon supporters, Sean Wellman's still the player that is free in their back half.
Masidi is going to go back, decides to go forward. Lloyd and Parker. Parker does well. There's Haynes. That kick, not very good. So for second time in the space of 30 seconds, out of bounds on the full. Almost 25,000 in. They've repaid the favour here. That's the marker out in the full. Boundary umpire did signal out of bounds on the full. So some early errors in this second quarter now. Shane Parker is demanding the football. In fact, Grover it was from Peter Bell. He honoured that. Now Pavlich has run hard to centre wing and got away from Hurd. Kicks now to the pocket. Here is Crow juggling. Mark, is it being paid? Yes. Not a lot of talk, I don't think, between Crow and Justin Longmuir, but in the end, Crow has taken the mark.
Well, he's certainly a more definitive kick, if you like, from that area. And again, that's the thing that Mark Harvey was talking to James Hurd about at quarter time, I'm sure. Don't allow Pavlich to run off like that. But Pavlich, great strength and great confidence too to run off and be creative on such a very good player.
Trent Crowd. From just inside 50.
Oh, boomerang.
Yeah, the old flash and flower bag punt. Out of bounds on the full 4 times in this quarter, and we've only played about 2 minutes.
Essendon now switching play. Switching play to Fremantle because Farmer's cut it off. Can he finish it off with a goal? No. So some poor kicking in this early part of the second quarter. Farmer with his first score, getting the Dockers to within 4 points.
It's not only kicking too, it's decision making,
yeah.
Matthew. That's the thing. I mean, you don't go and rush a kick like that. You take advantage and kick the goal. Go back and have a set shot.
Mark Johnson now outside of his defensive 50 to Blumfield. He goes wide. It's a good kick. Here's Corey McGrath, who's on the ground.
Just come on for Rioli, Matthew.
Ramanauskas loves to move it on quickly. Does so. Hurd the target within Pavlich. Does well. Hurd with recovery now. Quick give to McVeigh. Hooks it round looking for Lloyd. Alessio there, and a good mark by Grover. Up against the taller Alessio. Anthony Grover playing on now.
Oh.
Another poor kick. Just the foot skills of Fremantle. And eventually, if they keep turning it over, Ross, it's going to cost them.
Couldn't agree more.
Ramanauskas marks, plays on, player of class, and hits the post halfway up.
It's hard to do that, you know.
Halfway up?
Well, to do it so often.
It's the third time that post has been hit.
But this year, the posters have been hit so many times. It's not amazing, it's disturbing.
That's his first miss for the year. Adam Ramanauskas had 3 straight coming into the game. So, bit of an error-ridden second quarter. Pavlich short to Bell. Game 150. Bombers hold sway in Perth, winning 3 of 4. Stephen Coops, arguably the best player for the Dockers in Geelong last week. They were hard to find. Now, Coops was patient. McManus is the player he's targeted. Farmer, did he get a nudge? Doesn't matter. The ball comes out the back to McManus, who gets away from McGrath, then chips to open space. Set Medhurst a task. He's going to keep it in. No, not quite. He's under pressure. They've honoured Medhurst's first quarter by putting Heffernan on him. He's a stopper as Dean Rioli looks on. So early stages second quarter. Here's the Bombers still by 5 points. Ramanauskas. Good mark, Jason Johnson. Just forward of left centre wing.
Johnson wants some options in the middle. Gets it from McGrath. He has plenty of space in front of him. Decides to kick to the lead of Alessio. He was being held, and it was a good decision. The crowd aren't happy with it, but the umpire was in the perfect spot, and as is James Hurd. Plays on, leans back, and misses.
Lee Brown just letting him know how much he missed by. It was very casual and a little bit arrogant by James Hurd there. It's all very well if you kick the goal, but if you miss, that's what you cop.
And Coops giving him something to go on with as well, but the crowd told the story there. This is Walker. Cook. McVeigh arrives late, does enough to force him to the ground. 6-point margin, 3-4 playing 2-4. The switch will be on here to the young Polak.
Oh.
And that is a kick in hope. Luckily, he's got Parker back there. He's got to get around Lloyd. He's a good tackler, Matthew Lloyd. Brown wanted the boundary. Alessio's foot got in the way. Parker needs to keep presence of mind. Hazelby misses the body. Good tackling, good pressure from the Bombers. Got it to Barnard. Here's Blumfield on the left to the goal square. 1-on-1. And doing a great job with strength against Harvey was James Walker.
Walker has Haynes camped outside 50, shielding his eyes from the sun. He marks and goes. McManus. Ramanowskis! Push, the umpire is paid.
Yeah, if he had taken it, he would have allowed it because he dropped the mark. Push on the way up.
If he marked it, it would have been mark of the year. Now Crowd off a step. Spiral punt. Not the best off the boot. So a bit sloppy here from both teams. Fletcher, very good mark. I've hurt my throat.
Pierced my ear.
Fletcher to centre wing now. Coops has to show some courage over the top. Good mark taken by Jacobs. As Matty Campbell mentioned earlier, 10 marks last week. Short to Wellman, very busy early. This will be his 10th possession. A goal the margin. It's over 14 minutes left of the second quarter. Good kick. McVeigh up. Haynes did well, put some pressure on him. Well, McVeigh had too much time to get through the traffic. Spots up a man in Mercedes. Ramanowskis on 50, decides to hand pass. Carosella steps inside, kicks on goal and has put it through.
Yep.
Got some treatment.
He's in a spot of bother too, Blake Carosella. It's a goal.
So there's a bit going off.
Yeah, Crode was the fellow who was the chaser initially, and then as Ramanowskis, who Crode was chasing, gave the ball off to Carosella, who's a very good finisher of the footy. Crode continued with the tackle and buried him in the ground, and Carosella is still lying prone. And that's where Alessio came in and tried to square up with Crode. That's why these two players here in Johnson and Ramanowskis are remonstrating with Crode.
Well, plenty happening here at Subiaco. Blake Carosella's got the goal. Mark Johnson's still remonstrating with Trent Crode. But the disappointing thing for Bombers fans watching around the country is that Blake Carosella is still in the hands of the trainers.
The tackle carried him forward a bit, Matthew. He'd kicked the goal. They were going to bring the ball back if he had have missed. But he landed with no control, hands out at all to try and protect himself. And I'm sure his head hit the ground first as the cart comes out.
Well, we've got two groups of players who are still pushing and shoving at either ends of the ground. Crode, of course, has returned to his forward line, and he's being reminded of it by all and sundry of the Bomber defenders. Let's take a look, Ross.
There's Crode from behind.
His head's hit the ground.
Yep.
So is it fair to say it's just a tackle?
It was latish, Tim. Yeah, he'd already kicked the footy, so. But he did try to turn him around. He didn't try and bury him from behind.
There was contact with another Fremantle player coming the other way, and I wonder if that's where the initial head contact came from.
Jacob's still talking with Crode. As Stephen Coops is coming off for a breather for Fremantle and Seagate to go on. They also took Haynes off, gave him a breather. With McPhee coming on, and Essendon still only a couple of small interchanges through the course of this game so far.
Well, we can see Blake Carosella there. He was certainly conscious and moved his head, so that is a very good sign.
This is where, yeah, they've got to concentrate here, Matthew. Crode particularly. It's all very well to try and stand up, but it's all done, all gone. Let's move on. This is where the antagonism continues, and you don't want to get reported for anything silly from here on in.
Wonderful player, Blake Carosella.
Well, I'm sure Ramanowskis gave the ball to him, Matthew, because whilst Ramanowskis is a great finisher, he hit the post in his previous kick, and Carosella is certainly, as we watch this again,
reckon Lee Brown is the
Lee
instigator.
Brown,
Hit him on the hip, I reckon, on the way down. Lee Brown coming the other way.
and also a nice little knock on the ground as well. So Trent Crowe, nothing malicious in it, just a solid tackle.
Yep.
But that won't stop Mark Johnson letting him know for the entire afternoon.
He can go one of two ways here, Trent Crowe. He can fire up in his defence, or he can let it bother him.
Exactly right.
Umpire Gavin Doyle restarts proceedings with the Bombers leading by 12 points. Quickly they work it through Hazelby. And Bell, he's on the wing. It was a good knock by Simmons to start it all. Up towards Crowe. It's Longmuir. Farmer. Back to Hazelby and run on. Outside his 50. Hooks it round the corner. He's got Crowe this time. He can't mark Bell in the right spot. Tough kick from there by the skipper. In game 150. He kicks a ripper. Well, from the break, Peter Bell has led his side to the first goal. And certainly the stop in play. Fremantle comes straight out, Ross.
Yes, because they're dangerous stops in play, Matthew. As you know, you can teams can get lopsided. And Tim mentioned that Crowe, particularly Trent Crowe, can go one way or the other. At this stage, he's knocked the ball down. Probably should have taken the mark. And Peter Bell, who's worked very hard against Justin Blundfield as a tag today, finished off beautifully there. So it's the return goal that they were looking for, just to get this game back to a 6-point margin.
Peter Bell reduces the margin to a goal in his 150th game, his 5th goal for the season. There's been an infringement, centre square infringement. Let's go to Lockie Reed, boundary side. To Lockie in a moment. Hill to Ramanauskas on the lead. Barnard bounced in front of him. Slow turning circle, those two. Oh, that was pretty crude, I would have thought. It's on the full. It's going to go to the Dockers. Barnard's attack on Grover was ferocious. The Bombers are fired up. Patience inside 50. There's not much on offer. Now Lee Brown is going to have to stand and wait underneath some pressure from Mercedes, and Lee Brown has taken his 7th mark. He wants to go back across his own goal. He decides, no, I'll come up to the centre wing. It's an up and under kick very high. Stand underneath that and show some courage. They do. Almost a mark to Wellman. Knocked back into play. Well done, McGrath in tight. Very good. Gets it back to Jacobs. The Bombers keep it alive. A floating punt to half forward. Hard one to mark. Off the hands of Mercedes over the line and out of play.
Yes, and Trent Crowe's just been taken from the ground for a spell. Maybe a chat to the coach just to settle him down.
6-point margin, just over 12 minutes remaining. Hill beat Simmons that time. Almost goes the second time himself. Dockers under pressure here. Harvey caught. McManus. Quick give to Hazelby. Hazelby wanted the boundary, and he didn't get it because the bounce favoured Sean Wellman. Back to Fletcher. Jacobs his target. Finds him, centre wing.
Once again, Matty, Essendon very good at releasing the ball backwards to get out of trouble. They've always got someone 15 metres off the play.
Oh, great confident running by Mark Johnson. Backed himself in. Low pass going towards Alessio. Huge courage from Walker. Inspiring football from James Walker.
That's something that he wouldn't have done a couple of years ago. So it's a credit to him that he was able to put himself in the line of the footy. And whilst he got contact, you don't often get badly hurt in those situations. So terrific stuff. And also the Essendon player coming the other way had eyes for the footy. Alessio. Nothing wrong with that at all.
He's not feeling too good, James Walker, so Bell's going to take the kick.
Yeah, Pollack tried to help him out as well, which is good thinking from the young fella to try and get... here we have Carousel up on his feet coming around the boundary. He's okay, and Walker's just going to come off for a spell.
So mixed fortunes there. Carousel looking good. Walker perhaps not so. But an inspired piece of football from him. We saw Danny Frawley earlier in the year talk about Rory Hilton and try and use that as inspiration to his team. Perhaps Walker. Here's Pollack. Farmer. Inboard now to Norrish. Slowing it down once again. Norris. Most of the Essendon players back now, and he's forced to go short to Peter Bell.
This is why a lot of the old-time players say the game hasn't sped up at all. They say it's slowed down. It's only because of the flooding type tactics. Try and combat that. You've got to chip it around and wait for a break. No one particularly likes it, but if the tactics are employed against you, it's the only thing you can do.
Simmons gets it to Polak. He's got some space now. Didn't need to bounce there. He only ran 10 metres in the total. Medhurst. Oh, that's terrific footy. Turn Johnson inside out. Can he find the body? No. Good spoil there from Hill. McGrath. McPhee. Out in front of Farmer. This is where he's dangerous. Heffernan almost gets him. Does enough to put him off. And Farmer again kicks it out on the full.
It's about 5 now, Matthew, for the quarter on the full. And really, again, he knew he was under pressure, but he is a much better kick than that.
Conditions are perfect. There's no excuses there, and I think the footy's got some air in it. Mercedes taking the mark inside his defensive 50. Kick across goal, has to be pinpointed. Is Jacobs been busy. Now he played on and then fell over, then threw it. He genuinely just picked it up and threw it to Fletcher running past. He's been penalised.
You're on fire with your calls today, Tim. You've picked it beautifully. Your umpiring skills are much better than people think. There's no doubt.
I couldn't play.
Medhurst there was very good, as you mentioned. His recovery was first class. Knew what was going on, just to know what to do. Didn't give away a free kick, and then just said to the umpire, hey, he threw it up both hands, look at that. And he's spot on. Taking some time now just to gather his breath and settle down. Deserves a goal.
He's been busy. He's just sucking it in right at this moment. It's not a hot day, but it's warm enough. And right behind this kick, Medhurst taking plenty of time. A goal here, the scores will be level. A couple of changes on the bench. Norris replaced by Haynes and Henneman on for Alessio. So the good work's being done by Medhurst. Can he cap it off with a goal? He certainly can.
Terrific goal by Paul Medhurst. He really is a clever player. And it's becoming an issue for the Essendon defence. And if you want to know more about the real issues in AFL football, catch the experts on the couch every Monday night at 8:30. Join Jared, Robert and Mike. But importantly for the Dockers, Medhurst is everywhere at the moment, and he has levelled the scores. 4-4, 28 apiece. Scores all tied up with under 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Simmons against Hill. Here's Mercedes. Catch that, fellas. And he does. Coops. Very difficult to catch a ball coming straight down in the hands like that. Coops. To McPhee on the wing. Looking good now, the Dockers. They've kicked the last 2 since that stop in play. If you just joined us, Blake Carosella is up and about. He is walking around. He was collected early and did go for the stretcher. Going long now, the Dockers. Longmuir the target. Over the top was as a free kick, and it's going to Justin Longmuir. Troy Longmuir came over, and Justin Longmuir got a push in the back, I think.
Yeah, it looks as if it was Wellman that was standing alongside him as the ball came in very high. As we see Crowd on the phone again, but getting back to the play, we see now this is a goal that, again, I mentioned before, pressure. Yeah, I held across the shoulder by Fletcher it was. It was, in fact, Wellman going with Troy Longmuir and the younger brother in Justin being infringed across the shoulder.
He's kicked 1 goal, 2 in the first quarter. He had 3 set shots at goal. From the reverse angle, it's very good off the boot, and the Dockers are back in front. Second goal to Justin Longmuir, but just from Fletcher's point of view, I mean, he's not having a good afternoon. We've seen Medhurst turn him inside out a couple of times, and now a free kick against Justin Longmuir.
Yes, well, Fletcher, in fact, he's had it 7 times, Matthew, but not really the dominant player he can be in that situation. So he has been under pressure, which is credit to the Fremantle back half that they have on more than one occasion put the Essendon defenders under that sort of pressure. They've tried to clear the ball. That's a better finish. Crode is off. Oh, wrong, sorry. Simmons off.
Justin Longmuir a couple of goals. He stays down forward. Simmons is off the ground. Chris Connolly is throwing Trent Crode into the ruck. Dockers fans have been wanting Crode to be around the ground. They reckon he's a pretty good athlete. Well, he's got a chance to show it. Hill did very well in the situation. Didn't win the knock, but won the footy. McAllister's gone to ground. Seagate, Polak took too long. Ball spills. McAllister, good tackle on him. Barnard under pressure. Fierce tackling inside. It's come off the boot to McVeigh. Hand pass over the top. Standing there is Harvey, and Harvey's kicked his third goal.
Yes, and young Pollock there getting tackled from behind, having missed so much football. Only played, what was it, Tim, about, 8 minutes in the first game?
First game against the
First
Eagles.
hit out in a game of football. There he is, too much time. Well, and that's a way he can actually damage his shoulder again.
To be a little bit fair there on Pollock, I mean, Seagate was on the up and then stopped and looked. I mean, Seagate probably should have been giving it to him straight away.
Sure.
It was a little bit of a delayed give from Seagate.
And then in the end, the ball came off the boot of Sean McManus and it spilled free to Essendon's favour. But you still got to kick the goals, and Harvey, by geez, he's done that today already in the first half. Got his third.
Scores level once again. 5-4 apiece. And it's Hill against Crode. Hill wins it. Masidi. Oh, just good work from Crode to Cook. McPhee caught. Here's Trent Crode. Does get distance with his kick. It's out in front of the dangerous Medhurst. Excellent kick from Trent Crode.
Oh, son, forget the mark.
He had Farmer over the top.
Exactly right, Matthew, and that's what we could see from here. The viewers couldn't see it from their sets, but Farmer had run on behind him, and all he had to do was either chip it over, get back quickly, chip it over, or quickly handball over the top, and you got Farmer into an open goal. This is now, he puts himself under pressure. We might see it from this angle. There goes Farmer in screen on the left quickly. Medhurst takes the mark here, pays no attention, is looking at the umpire there, not Farmer. You'll see Farmer go to the back there. Either a quick kick around the corner, get the ball over by hand, now has to kick the goal.
20-year-old from Claremont. Kicked over 70 goals for Claremont in the WAFL. From just inside 50 for his second of the quarter. And as Ross mentioned, he owed that one to the team. Just the behind to put Fremantle 1 point in front.
He got too close to the man on the mark on that occasion, so he wasn't quite sure where he was.
That's true.
So they lead by a point. They'll be happy with this Fremantle. Their first halves haven't been great, but their second halves are the best in the league. They run games out well. They're up against one of the very best in the competition, and Essendon are going to make life hard for them. The kick by Fletcher to centre wing McGrath. Well done by Troy Longmuir over the top. And Masidi keep it in. Hand pass. Now Fremantle have numbers here. Farmer got rid of Hurt. Carr stepped in. Now he's gone. Great tackle by McGrath. Should be penalised, and is.
Gee, he was slow to get that off, Tim. You've just indicated that with your skills. No doubt vision was poor there. Quickly should have done that.
McGrath to Masiti.
You're best on ground at the moment, Gossage, apparently.
If we had a camera in here, there'd been all sorts of bother. Polak is taking the mark. Yes, we played a lot of footy between us. Bell. So 6 minutes remaining in the half. Fremantle lead by a point. That kick, it's landed in front of Farmer. He tried to claim the mark. Not doing. Umpire out right on the scene. The Bell to Cook. Hand pass. Fremantle under pressure. Pavlich at half back. Looks up. Medhurst out hard. Will he mark the mark here? I don't think so. He can hear Ross Glendinning ringing in his ears. He kicks it to the lead of Haynes. Running on. Good mark under pressure from McVeigh. Haynes too far out to score.
Yes, he had either Haynes or Coops, and Coops is still running inside 50. He's almost 20 out, so...
It's a good matchup because he's on Shane Harvey.
Yep. Although Harvey gave him the curry early, Matthew, that's when they put Walker onto him. Now Walker's come off because of that knock. Bell on for off for a rest, and Hazelby on.
McManus has taken a very easy mark, very patient build up. Daniel Haynes has been impressive early.
Yes, he's come on. He's had to run with Joe Masidi, so they've given him a good task. So he's going to be in the play playing on someone like that, as Bell does a bit of a warm down.
14 possessions. Now, Sean McManus kicked the goal from this very spot last year after being poleaxed by David Wapunda. It was one of the most courageous acts. Can he repeat the dose? Can he repeat the dose? It's working back. I think he's missed. He has. So a 2-point lead. 5-6-36 Fremantle. Essendon 5-4-34. We're well into the dying stages of the first half.
Fletcher wants Mark Johnson. Farmer, body on body, too good. Play on. What can the Wizard do? He gives it off to Cook. He straightens up. From 40 metres, he kicks a wonderful behind. Missed opportunity there. Farmer did everything right to put Cook into the open. And he couldn't finish off. 5-7 plays 5-4.
Set up perfect. Picture tells a story.
Essendon led by 5 points at quarter time. Fletcher. Beautiful drop punt, but it does favour the Dockers at 3-on-1. Carr, caught by Mercedes. Blumfield. Ball goes to ground. Here's Crode. Crode. Hurd. Haven't seen a lot of James Hurd in this quarter. He's caught by Polak. Farmer. Got to beat Henneman and Mercedes. Caught high. Play on the call.
Play your whistle, umpire.
Polak gets it out to Haynes. Been impressed with him in his first game. The kick, though, drops short. He wants Longmuir. He's got to beat 2 Essendon players. He won't. It was Hurd and Fletcher. Bit of class there. And Hurd finds Hill now, breaking the Bombers. Long kick towards Lloyd. And he gets it. Parker just went to ground, and Lloyd marks right on the 50.
Bombers fans, Jason Johnson coming off for a breather. He's worked very hard in this first half. Barnard on for him.
This will deflate the Dockers if he kicks this after a couple of squandered opportunities.
And Tim, that's often been the case with Fremantle. They work so hard often to get the footy and turn the game around and get involved, get in front, keep the game very competitive, and then the opposition are allowed towards the end of that competitive quarter or half just to pinch a goal.
It's all right for Fremantle fans to bag Matthew Lloyd, but maybe Justin Longmuir should take a leaf out of his book because he does things to a technique.
What a wonderful opportunity for Matthew Lloyd to have his say with the football. Coming back, will hit the goal square. Still an opportunity for the Bombers. Gee, wasn't that a ride by Hill, and he's come down pretty hard. Slow to get to his feet, but good to see. And just the rush behind for the Bombers. Margin here at Subiaco, just the 2 points.
He came downhill faster than he went uphill.
Oh, yes, well done.
It's been written in his book for about 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that one.
It's nice to use my script. Stephen Coops had his hands full with Harvey. Shane Harvey, the leading goal kicker on the ground with 3 on debut. Around the ground, sigh from the Dockers fans. The short pass to Hazelby. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining in the half. Umpire McInerney says you have to go now, Hazelby, so he does. Goes out wide. Justin Longmuir, a long way down, takes a very good mark on his chest. Half back right. Inside to Seagate, looks up. Good run from Troy Longmuir, marks in the middle of Subiaco Oval, which I must say is looking in picture-perfect condition. They've run on. Yeah, it is a good kick. Grover. Anthony Grover from 55 metres. Lets fly on goal. Does he need a shepherd? He's missed near side. They're peppering away, but not scoring the goals. Grover's not happy. Fremantle moved to 5-8-38, margin back out to 3 points, 5-5-35 the Bombers.
He's been very good at this year, Grover, in running forward and creating, and should well have kicked the goal there. Is Longmuir. That's Justin off for a breather. Simmons back on, and Rioli on for Henneman for Essendon.
Here's Carr, almost getting it from Polak. Hill. Troy Longmuir. Tackling's been excellent from both teams today. Seagate to Carr. Wants Crode. Got to beat Jacobs. Does so with a handball towards Hazel. He's got to beat 3 Bombers and he won't. Barnard, gee, handball to Jacobs. Crope standing right with him. He needs to tap it on, he does. Hazelby's got to beat McAllister, who's now on the ground. Medhurst keeps it in once again. He's held. He'll get a free kick. Play on. And crowd not happy as Hazelby just kicked it to Fletcher. Somehow the umpire didn't think that Paul Medhurst was being held. It doesn't matter because now it's play on with Mercedes.
Maybe the umpire was too close to it.
You should see it better.
McVeigh, I'll let you two work it out. I'll just concentrate on James Hurd.
Surely it should be clearer.
Lloyd, just crashes into the back, free kick. Listen to the crowd.
Defensive half of Fremantle stood up pretty well again. There's been a lot of slipping and sliding by Essendon forwards, and they've been able to match it up pretty well once they stabilised in about the 15-minute mark of the first quarter, Fremantle.
So we're in the dying seconds. In fact, a minute and a half to go of the first half. And it's an entertaining game of footy, even if the skills are not quite 100%. And plenty to watch and do. As McPhee goes out wide, and Simmons, who's been good in the middle of the ground.
Does this well, Tim. Gets around the park because he's an athlete, but also reads it very well.
Free kick count favours the Dockers, 10-6. So they're patiently setting up, and Lee Brown. It's his 9th mark, not one of his most impressive, but still goes on the stat sheet. And he goes back to Simmons. They're waxing.
He'll go back here. No, I thought he was going to go back again.
They've done this well, Fremantle, because now Grover's found himself in some space. He looks up. Next kick is important. McManus is outnumbered 2-1. Barnard, yes, a push against McManus. The umpire front on saw that. And the Bombers will go to Hurd, and he will mark, and he wants to play on. A forward sortie for the Bombers. Can they take the lead just before half-time? McVeigh spots up Mark Johnson, centre wing right to Smokin' Joe Masidi. Too far out to score. The lead into the pocket. Harvey, well done by Troy Longmuir. Back across, takes the saving mark in defence.
Playing on quickly to Troy Cook at his defensive 50, and he likes to slow it down. I thought perhaps he had the opportunity to get things moving. He does so now through a switch of play. Gone back 30 metres. But they've worked it out to Pollack on the outside. He has Norris running for him, or Simmons. Doesn't matter who's running for Simmons, because the siren has sounded. And these two teams kicked 10 goals between them last week. They have 10 goals between them at half-time at Subiaco today. But importantly for the home crowd and Peter Bell in his 150th, Fremantle lead by 3 points. 5-8-38 to Essendon 5-5-35. Entertaining game from Subiaco. 3-point lead to the Dockers. And, well, there's Alessio on Pollack, so it's a tough job for such a young player.
McAllister, McGrath, Henneman, Carosella. It's the bench, we've clarified that.
They swapped it around a bit. Second half action. Simmons to do battle with Hill. And there's a free kick, and it's going to Troy Simmons.
It's against Heffernan for going into the square early.
Yes, he tried to jump over the line and hold his spot, but didn't work. Again,
Simmons goes wide, and Hurd infringes on Matthew Pavlich.
Done that all day. Matthew Pavlich.
Thanks for clarifying.
Very
that.
common name, Matthew.
Doesn't matter. Here's Pavlich's kick to the pocket. Good lead. Finds Hazelby, but he just can't quite take the mark. Boundary throw in.
Yes, I almost sensed that he thought it wasn't going to carry to him with Medhurst in front, and in the end it did, and it caught him by surprise.
The Bombers bench looks on. Hill, Longmuir, tap down, taken by Hazelby. Quick snap. On a score. So the Dockers get the first score of the second half. It is only a minor score. Now to a 4-point lead. There's Jacobs. Hiding in the shadows far side is Wellman. Busy early. Heffernan. Far side of the ground. Just over 25,000. Saturday football at Subiaco. Wellman again, so they've traversed the ground back and forth. Well done by Fletcher. Hand pass to his own advantage, got away from Coops. Inside 50, 3 against 1. And that's a very good mark taken by Brown over the top of Hurd.
I think he copped one from Troy Longmuir, who came across the front of the pack and tried to almost spoil, and he's whacked his teammate in the eye. And Brown continues to be, watch this. Bang, there you go, thank you very much.
They are mates.
Good to see they've got
mates.
numbers around the ball.
That's his 11th mark too. Lee Brown playing a loose man in defence.
Yes, they continue with that, and Barnard at the other end is the spare man for Essendon.
Carr switching play back to Brown. Certainly if you're playing loose man defence, it's a wonderful way to run yourself into some form. Pollack. Short pass to Norris. So once again, after half-time, no change to the style of play being employed by the Dockers. Just patient, trying to maintain possession and open up. He's off. Called to play on. Gets underneath it. Should suit the Bombers here. Barnard the loose man, and it's the worst possible kick in the way the two teams are set up to kick it straight to him. Wellman again runs. Alessio the target. The 227s. He's too tall for young Pollack. Playing on now. Back to Ramanauskas. Short pass to Johnson. Very busy in the first quarter, Jason Johnson, with 9 possessions. Just a couple in that quarter. Well, that's not one to be proud of, and away they go once again, the Dockers. Brown cutting it out to the wing. Longmuir. Good attack on the body by Wellman. Play on was a good call. Round the body. Wants Fletcher. Coming Brown. Spoil. Suits Coops. He knocks it over to the advantage of McVeigh for Essendon, though. He gives it inside 50 to Masidi. Out on the full. We've seen Farmer and Masidi in that pocket kick balls out on the full. 2 quality players who do finish.
Absolutely no breeze to speak of. Flags are flaccid.
That they are. Carr. He just wants to get it over the top. Mark Johnson did well. He narrowed his angle, but that's a good kick by Carr to Haynes. On debut. Farmer should give it to Seagate and run. Does he have to change stride? The hand pass missed its target now, and he stumbled. Then got it back to Troy Longmuir. Back to Farmer. The whiz from 30 metres out. Kicks the goal.
Wonderful goal by Jeffrey Farmer. And for a comprehensive wrap of all the great goals in the round, you can tune into the winners on Sunday night at 7:30 on Fox Footy. And if you want to know more about the real issues in AFL football, catch the experts on the couch, 8:30 on Monday nights.
He just eked it through, didn't he?
Well, it was we won't go into how close it was, but that's all you want. But it shows you, once you open the game up with some free-flowing football, get someone in space, it just changes the whole shape of the game.
Jeff Farmer gets the opening goal, and it's a start they were looking for. They wanted to start this third quarter well. The margin is now out to 10 points.
And important for Farmer too, Matthew, because he's playing basically on a wing. He's not camped predominantly up in the forward line.
His opponent at the moment is Heffernan, but it's Masidi who clears for Essendon out of the centre. Off the side towards Harvey, with him Walker. Reads it well. Little give to Fletcher. Fletcher gets some distance with that. Looking for Alessio, and the ball beating both players over the boundary line.
Yes, with Wellman playing predominantly fullback now on Justin Longmuir, Fletcher's been allowed to push forward for this third quarter, which he's done pretty effectively for many a game.
Just finding goals hard to come by Essendon in recent times. No Lucas, no McCurry, no Moorcroft. But there's Johnson.
That's holding.
Holding the ball. Fremantle players run hard. They want to get things moving. Norris decides against a quick switch of play. As we see the replay, just a wonderful tackle and getting some help as well from a teammate.
He's dizzy, I think. Swung around, full 360. Very good mark taken by Parker opposed to Lloyd. Here's Troy Longmuir, drops the mark. Then he's got a problem. Well, that should be a free kick against Norris, and is. Fell into his back. That of Blumfield. Ramanauskas. Now Fletcher in best position. Got rid of Pollack, but the assistance came from Brown for Fremantle. They've knocked it outside 50. Now it's rebounded back inside. Jason Johnson met solidly by Coops. Very good tackle. And umpire Mar Getz comes in and says, let's calm things down and cool it down, I'll ball it up.
Yes, and the attack on the football and the body by Fremantle has unnerved a number of the more assured ball handlers of Essendon, and that's all you need to do, which is what West Coast, for instance, did last week against Brisbane.
Alessio knocks it back into the field of play. Johnson goes to ground. Ramanauskas, very lightning hand pass, comes to Heffernan, back to Alessio, lumbering in the pocket. Alessio, beautiful goal! Something out of nothing for big Steve Alessio. Just his third kick
Yes, he hasn't had much influence on the game, really. 7 touches overall into a third quarter, but none better than this. And creating something basically from nothing, Essendon, where they just keep working the ball, and they've always got, I think I said in the first quarter, someone at the back of the play to release the ball to, and he was that player on that occasion. Not normally a bigger fellow is that person, but he finished very well.
Steve Alessio's second goal for the season. Essendon 6 for the afternoon. Margin back to 4 points. Simmons, clever tap. He was looking for Bell. But Essendon on top in the centre. Mercedes got it to Mark Johnson. He wants Alessio. Pollack did well, the youngster, to get in front of him. Coops, got to beat 2. Wants a free kick. Gets it.
Interesting too, Matthew. James Walker had to back again, and he was hesitant to start, but then continued on. So it's just getting back in the saddle, as you say, to do that again. And Coops played it well. He's been pretty steady today. He was towed up early, not towed up, but young Harvey kicked a couple on him. He was moved off, but he's come back strongly, which has been important.
Switches the player to the player Ross mentioned prior. That is Walker. Seagate. Just reluctant to get things moving. Carr didn't have a lot of room, but Seagate hit the body. Under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Matthew Carr, so often the player they'll use in a switch. Norrish.
This is the danger area, Matthew. They've got to create something and find someone to take the ball inside 50 from the next kick. If they just kick it up the line, then it can easily just be forced back over your head.
Short to Farmer. Out in front of Johnson. Hasn't gained a lot of ground, though. Simmons peels off for him. Decides to use him. So Simmons just caught Hill napping there. But still, Fremantle haven't got the ball over the centre. They do so now. Pavlich. Been a fascinating duel to watch Pavlich on Herd this afternoon.
2 very smart players. 2 very athletic players. 2 players you come to watch play football.
Pavlich to Norrish, who'd run on. Puts him under pressure though with Barnard. Handball back. Haynes got to get past Rioli. Does so easily. And then slots the pass in and finally to get a mark. And it's Hazelby. So they were very patient there, Ross, but they persisted with it.
Yes, they were very patient. You're quite right. And they had the ball on the side of the ground closest to our cameras. Opposite to where Hazelby is at the moment, and they finally worked the ball across the other side. And I thought young Seagate wasn't going to receive the ball from Haynes because he's in the best position, but obviously Haynes knew who he wanted to give it to.
Hazelby gets close to the man on the mark, causing it to spew off the side of the boot. Pavlich was there. Ball comes to Bell, who cleverly puts it back to McManus, who wants Bell. He's tucked up in the pocket. It'll be a fantastic kick if it goes through. He's got 2 great goals for the afternoon. James Hurd in the hand of the trainers, but Peter Bell celebrates with another great goal. Looks like perhaps a little bit of blood, Tim.
A little bit of blood. There is a lot of blood coming from the face of James Hurd. He's in a very bad way.
As is McVeigh, McVeigh, I should say, who's limping. Look at that. It's a pretty prolific bleeding area, if you like. That top of the forehead might look worse than what it really is. Oh, he's hit a knee of McVeigh. That's why McVeigh's limping as well.
James Hurd in a very bad way with a lot of blood coming from a wound in the face. There he is here, the skipper. That's a very ugly sight. And here it has happened. McVeigh coming one way, Hurd goes to ground and whack onto the left knee of McVeigh. McVeigh's hurt his left knee as well. He's got a bruise on it. But James Hurd is the one who's in a bad way. He's been forced off with the blood rule. He's gone straight down to the rooms. Not feeling too good, James Hurd. And I can tell you the doctor was out on the ground moments ago with Matthew Lloyd as well. Real issue for Essendon now is who's going to kick the goals for them. Yes. Hurd's off, Carousella's off. We mentioned the players who haven't taken part in the game, and Lloyd's only got 1 goal. So the pressure on the Bombers, the championship Bombers. Bell to Farmer, who's increased his workload. Medhurst leads his man, Forster Knight under the ball. Eventually the ball's gone over the line and out of play. Jeff Farmer put the foot on the gas about just before time on in that second quarter. His midfield work has increased and he looks a lot more comfortable.
Well, that's where he wants to play as much as he can, Tim, so he's got to show that he can do it.
70 metres out. Simmons tapped it straight down the throat, though, of Mark Johnson. And here's Fletcher and Rioli. Clean bowl, Seagate and Rioli. Lee Brown back. He's got a slow turning circle. He didn't use it. He went to ground instead. He fooled us all, including me, which is not hard to do. McManus to half forward. At the back, well done by over the top. Blumfield punches it away from Farmer over the line and out of play. The crowd's involved.
Simmons now feels like one feels as though Simmons reckons he's getting on top. I feel at the moment with his ruck contest with Hill, but they get it forward, Essendon, and they certainly do. Rioli's handball to Johnson. He's got to get past. He doesn't. Masidi, one step round the body. Alessio the target. Great mark by Graham Pollak.
I tell you, I think Steve Alessio's probably had the sun in his eyes then, and so did Pollak, but his judgment of a ball high like that's not very good, Alessio, so well done to the young fellow.
Some chat whether he would take his place in the side, but he's certainly doing a great job for someone so young. Coops now, breaking for the Dockers. Chips up towards Medhurst. Forster Knight needs help, gets it in McGrath. Barnard out to Hill, centre wing. Hill looking for Lloyd on a lead. Got to beat McManus and Parker, who's been right with him all afternoon. And the ball is over for a boundary line once again. 10.5 minutes remaining, 10 points the margin.
Important part of the game for Fremantle, firstly, because they've worked hard to maintain a lead, pushed it out to 10 points, but also for Essendon. They've got to chip back with a couple of goals to give themselves some momentum.
Aaron Henneman getting some instructions on the boundary line. Tap down. Well, Jason Johnson, was he taken high? I thought so. Not paid.
Oh, the other umpire's paid it, Tim, from 50 metres away.
Umpire Margetts, he's right, though. It was certainly a high tackle. Umpire Dorr was closest to the action, and umpire Margetts has come from the middle of the ground, and that is a free kick to Jason Johnson. And
perfectly unbiased, being a West Australian umpire.
Doing a pretty good job, just his second game. Jason Johnson. The Dockers hanging on, running out of numbers, I suppose, of players, especially star ones. And James Hird down receiving some treatment for a nasty gash on the face. But here is the Jason Johnson kick. Splits the middle, the Bombers stay tight. Jason Johnson, well, he's coming off the ground. He was troubled during the week and is troubled with osteitis pubis, they say. So there was the high tackle, Pollak over the top.
Yes, it was a free kick to him. He deserved that because he threw the ball away in the end, but they needed that finish, and you're right, his first breather. Double change also for Fremantle, with Hazelby coming off and Seagate, McPhee coming on, and Troy Cook. Johnson on the phone to Kevin Sheedy.
Johnson just having a spell. There's getting himself involved once again after a pretty quiet second quarter. Goal for goal here at Subiaco. 2 goals apiece in this third quarter. James Hird off the ground at the moment with a pretty nasty cut. Masidi again out of the centre for Essendon. Here's Lloyd. Gets it off to McGrath. Clever kick off one step. Chance for Harvey over the back, but it's Pollak who comes running through. Just 17 years of age. Heffernan takes it out of bounds. It'll go down to Lockie Reed on the boundary.
It does look like James Hird has broken his nose. A few fans down here heard a big crunch. They're calling for an ambulance, trying to get onto the ambulance. So it looks like they're going to take him off to hospital. That's the news at the moment. James Hird, possible broken nose.
More than a broken nose. He's had it smashed completely with that amount of blood. It was very nasty onto the leg of a teammate. So the star goes down. There's a big blow, but the Bombers are hanging tough. Here's Masidi from 60 metres out. Kicks it long to the goal square. Dockers sorted out. Simmons did well. Parker did well to keep Lloyd away from the contest. And Simmons took a very good mark. Dockers under a bit of pressure here. The Bombers have lifted their rating. Hand pass to Haynes, taking a long time. His AFL debut. Kicks it to the Medhurst Forster Knight direction. Medhurst goes to ground underneath the pack. Crowd want a free kick. Bombers close to the line. He took it over, did Big David Hill. And we'll have a throw in. 9 minutes remaining, third quarter. Just a 4-point ball game in Freo's favour.
Essendon currently sitting 5th on the ladder, some place they haven't been for a while, the lowest ranking since round 9 in 1999. A loss here would be unbelievable to see the Bombers perhaps even slip out of the 8. Longmuir, goal! Three goals to Justin Longmuir. And again, Fremantle get it to 10 points.
Yes, and an important clearance too from the stoppage on the outer side. We see Peter Bell just get the ball from the boundary throw in, and Jason Norris just hung onto the ball knowing that Matthew Carr is a competent left foot kick, favoured by that. Wellman in the right position, front posse, but just a nice little nudge with inside the rules by Longmuir, and a real boosting goal, not only for him but for the team. And Coops has come off for a breather. McPhee back on.
Goals in the first, second and third quarter to Justin Longmuir. 10 points. The Dockers lead an injury-ravaged Bombers at the moment. Here's Cook, perhaps with a bit of run on through the middle. Parker. Grover, I should say. And boundary throw in.
In fact, Matthew, it was Grover that came on. Not McPhee's already on. Grover came on to replace Coops. So Cook and Grover just back on the ground after a bit of a breather. So some fresh legs as Rioli is off, and Jason Johnson back on.
So the Dockers, Crow thumps it forward. Volleyball stuff. He got it back, put it behind his back, but Hill was there. And eventually, Ramanowski's toe pokes the ball over the line and out of play. Plenty of time, third quarter remaining. Just a tick under 8.5 minutes. The Bombers without James Hird. We're believing that he's heading to hospital. A badly broken nose. Lost a lot of blood. So an important stanza of the game here. Fremantle are pressing hard to try and break this game open and maybe open up a 3 or 4 goal break by three-quarter time. The Bombers, as Joe Masidi sings out some instructions, are hanging tough. They're a quality side, they won't lay down and die. Crow tries to fend off, now he's got a problem. He took on 3 tacklers, almost penalised. McVeigh, hand pass, only to the advantage of Haynes to Grover. Bombers have numbers around the footy, they win the situation. Well done, Masidi, did well on his backside. Got a hand pass to the Ramanauskas. The run of Ramanauskas, he wants a shepherd from Alessio, he provides. Good kick into the pocket, McGrath. Oh, got some treatment too from McManus. McGrath's not happy with it either. Now there's the ambulance arriving on course for James Hird behind the Essendon change room. So that is pretty dramatic stuff here at Subiaco. James Hird heading to hospital as Corey McGrath. He would have played a lot of footy on this ground for South Fremantle. He's not going to have a shot. He's just going to put it out to the hot spot, 20 metres out from goal. Simmons up over the top. Very good mark.
He's been excellent this afternoon, Simmons. And there's a real feel about the Dockers at the moment. Walker towards Crode. Reads it better than Jacobs, but couldn't quite take the mark. McManus tries to go off the ground. Here's Hill. Back to Alessio. He's got Ramanauskas now. They've got to get some run going. Stationary, Alessio.
No one to kick it to, Matthew.
Unloads.
Look at this.
And all he can see up ahead is Dockers. Oh. Henneman's going to run onto a pretty lucky bounce. Simmons just slaps it towards Bell. Did well in the end. And they'll clear once again. Essendon having problems up forward this afternoon. Walker. Parker off one step. Carr comes late, but it falls to McVeigh. Threads it through some traffic. Out of bounds on the full. An unforced error from Mark McVeigh. It's the Dockers still lead by 10 as again they switch the play. This time it's Simmons, the recipient from the Polak kick. A couple of players in the middle. And plenty of space to run to. And Fremantle players free everywhere here at the moment. Pavlich. Norris runs for him. Handball just a little bit behind him, forces him to stop. Low pass, McPhee.
Seagert's on in the middle if he wants him.
Spots him. And he's 60 metres out. Andrew Seagert came off the rookie list. He's got Farmer on the lead. It's short. He's got about a couple. Farmer. Johnson there. Went without it. Masidi. There's Mark Johnson. And it'll be a free kick to Mark Johnson for holding on.
It's very untidy, that, Matthew, from Jason Norris. Player not near the foot, he just dragged off it. All that good work undone.
The Dockers want to ring the changes. They're trying to get Hazelby, Coops on the ground as well. Just got Seagate on. Now Barnard will come out to wing. Jacobs running with a flight. Good mark.
Fantastic kick.
Very good kick. Jacobs hasn't been the worst player out there for the Essendon either. McGrath takes it. Very busy. And on and off the ground. This will be his 6th kick. Ramanauskas, the class. 16th disposal. Alessio, the great goal in this quarter. Chip inside the pocket. Speaking of class, there's Lloyd. Patient build-up by the Bombers. The Fremantle Dockers might pay the price for turning the ball over at their half-forward flank about 30 seconds earlier.
That's what happens, Tim. That's the thing that can be disappointing about them, and that is that they do a lot of very good things, get the ball in an attacking area, prepared to score, or set up a scoring opportunity, I should say, then turn the ball over with either a lazy disposal or a lazy decision, or and then all of a sudden the ball's at the other end of the ground, and Parker, who's done a very good job on Lloyd, sees his opponent take a mark, which he could do nothing about. He's had a pretty good game as Shane Parker on Lloyd so far.
The crowd getting into the chant. Matthew Lloyd. His record speaks for itself. The crowd can please themselves, but that's not one of his better kicks. Kicks it across the pocket. Simmons up. He'll get frequent flyer points away he's going. He's been doing plenty of flying in the last line of defence. The kick has to be good and is. We're coming up to 4.5 minutes left in the quarter. Grover's kick. Pinpoint pass through the hands of Hazelby. There is Parker. Got away from Lloyd. Goes back and gets his own footy, steps around him, does very well, very patient by Shane Parker. That kick not good. Alessio marks. They want to get it back. They want to turn over the footy. The Dockers, Essendon want them to pay the price. Mark Johnson to half forward. Well done, Walker. James Walker, hand pass to Bell. All two Bombers collide behind play. James Walker gets rid of them. Here's Simmons. The run from Bell, defensive 50. Can he set it up, the champ? Left foot kick to the middle of the ground. Seagate.
Right in the centre, he's got Hazelby running for him, draws the play now. Hazelby back to Seagate on his non-preferred foot. It's a wobbly old kick into the forward line. Almost getting the mark there was Crowe. Hazelby, Medhurst puts some pressure on McVeigh, caused the error. Crowe picks it up and kicks the goal. Good pressure by the Dockers inside their forward 50. The turnover comes, and the biggest margin of the day for the Dockers, 16 points, Ross.
It's interesting to watch the Dockers players. They've all, well, about 14 of them have gone to Troy Simmons, who took that saving mark in the back half in the first instance. They were on a switch play. Parker was very good on that switch of play, getting the ball forward, and in the end, just through some perseverance, some hassle, they get the ball free, and Crowe had an easy goal in the end, having worked hard to get it. Look at that pressure from Medhurst.
Trent Crowe sits down after that goal. The Dockers are out to a 16-point lead. Simmons has now taken 12 marks. Lee Brown's taken 13, and Simmons now wants to dominate in the middle of the ground. A little toe poke. Goes only as far as Mark Johnson. The Bombers are up against the wall now. McAllister waited for it, so too Coops. Coops tries to open up for Grover. Grover says thanks for that and was legged by McAllister. No free kick. Doesn't matter, the Dockers still have possession. Farmer as the Watusi, and then gives it back to Hazelby, to Cook, back to Farmer. Kick inside 50, Justin Longmuir, Troy Longmuir, free kick. It's going to go Essendon's way. Umpire will pay advantage. Crowd not happy. Mark Johnson. It's rebound footy here. Masidi to McVeigh. Left side to half forward, Lloyd and Parker. Parker's played a game and a half. Hand pass to Coops, feigns to grab it, gets held by the arm, then slips it out to Pavlich. They're running away now, Fremantle. They're full of legs and run. Well, good mark taken by Justin Longmuir up against his left shoulder.
Terrific mark under extreme pressure. 2.5 minutes remaining. The momentum is with the Dockers. The ball is with Medhurst.
He can kick
Troy
this.
Longmuir.
He can kick this, Troy Longmuir.
Gets it long. Carr was his target. Free kick against Carr.
Just to illustrate Tim's point with the marks there, a couple of players he illustrated. It's 112 to Fremantle to 67 in total. So
yeah, well,
control in the air.
And they've controlled in the back half. Here's Wellman. Arriving late was Troy Longmuir, but McAllister now marking Corey McGrath runs for him.
Oh,
Gets it on the chest. Clever kick. It's on behind play, but they've settled it down now. McGrath steps around Pavlich. Can he get inside the 50? Chips over the top. Just about missed David Hill there, but he's forced him into a really tight angle. Wellman in the hands of the trainers. Gee,
yes.
They can't afford to lose another quality player.
Troy Longmuir came across his body there and inflicted a bit of pain on his thigh.
Hill opened up his angle, kicks across the face. A goal, Alessio! That time getting rid of the younger Polak.
Yes, and Simmons, Simmons, Matthew, looking for a push, but not that time. Height distinctly the advantage when there's no run and jump. It's Wellman who copped a bit of whack across the thigh, and Johnson, Mark, that is, wanted to go on with Longmuir, but Jeff Farmer came in, so he stepped aside.
Alessio has already kicked a goal in this quarter. It was from that pocket, and it was a tough angle. This is even more difficult from an angle point of view, but he's very close. Goes for the banana. Kicks it behind. Sean Wellman still down on haunches.
Yeah, the attack of Troy Longmuir. Here it is here. There's the Wellman kick. Longmuir was, it's just a good hard hip and shoulder.
He got it in the hip flexor across the thigh. It'd be a nice old corky, that one.
Pavlich kick to McPhee, diving mark. Closing in on the final minute of play in this third quarter. And the Dockers lead by 15 points. McManus should mark at half back. Just repeating, James Hird. An ambulance arriving at Subiaco Oval to treat him for a badly broken nose. Bad bounce for Grover. He's got a problem here. Threw it on the boot. Essendon have numbers around the footy. Hartley, great chase by Farmer. Give by Grover to Farmer. The Dockers might win out in this contest. Look away, hand pass from Coops. Back to the Wizard. Good kick, spots up a man in car. He wants to get it on fast. Inside the final 30 seconds of the third quarter.
We won't know that, will he, Tim?
He's on the board if he wants to have a look.
He wears contacts.
I think the crowd's yelling. They can certainly see it. Now Pavlich, inside 10 seconds. He's got to give it on to McManus, but they're stepping up over the mark. McPhee, he's going to have to kick it 100 metres with about a second remaining. I didn't work that out too well. Siren sounds, and he's going to go back and try and have a shot for goal.
A little bit of wishful thinking, but stranger things have happened in footy.
Only Jeff Ferring's kicked the longest score, I think.
Malcolm Blight at Princess Park.
He's embarrassed himself now.
He had to have a go.
He did.
But the Dockers are in control here at three-quarter time against an Essendon side who have their problems with injury, and they have their problems with James Hird, who, as we can see now, is being loaded into an ambulance. A nasty knock across the face to Mark McVeigh's knee, and perhaps even a cheekbone or something like that.
Yeah, Tim just indicated that he's got a neck brace on, and there's also the cheekbone there, which is very susceptible, Matthew, as you know, to a whack and also a crack. So they'd want to be very sure they get this right.
Gee, you wouldn't want to have anything to do with the Brownlow at the moment. McLeod and Ackermanis been suspended. Nathan Buckley's been reported, and the other favourite, James Hird, is now being loaded in the back of an ambulance. It seems to be a curse at the moment. But back to the action at Fremantle. They lead 9-9-63. Essendon 7-6-48. Carosella received a heavy knock earlier in the game, so he's off. He hasn't taken any more part in the game, even though he has been on the bench.
Well, the Fremantle supporter, Matthew, would be, in some respects, happy that those players are off the ground, not because they're injured, but they're not playing, but the football purists would prefer to see them on the ground.
Gavin Dawes starting proceedings in this final quarter at Subiaco. Fremantle leading by 15 points. Simmons, who was excellent in that third quarter, wins the knock. Hazelby, a bit of indecision, might cost him. It does. Mercedes, another clearance for Joe Mercedes, getting it long inside the 50. Coops over the back, can't quite take the mark. Rioli hasn't had a lot of the footy this afternoon. Parker, indecision again. Rioli wraps him up, but it spills free to Grover. Grover looking for Troy Longmuir on the outer side, out in front of Wellman. One-on-one, and Longmuir gets the boundary and gets some relief.
In fact, Dean Rioli hasn't had a kick today, so it's tough times for Dean.
Young Haynes on screen there. He's had a pretty good day when he's been on the ground.
Throw in. McGrath, pretty interesting third quarter, got a bit of the footy. And Seedy worked hard for the Bombers. Around the corner, pressure again. Well done, Walker, punched the ball away to Bell. from 150. Looks up, and Farmer, whose work rate has increased tenfold since just before half-time, is enjoying his run on centre wing in the midfield, and Peter Bell's enjoying just the run. He's a superstar player, gets it to another midfield star in Hazelby. Kick short of its target. Well done, Force tonight. Ball comes out to Fletcher. He's been at both ends of the ground on numerous occasions. It's a good kick. Oh, Heffernan had 75% purchase on it, and eventually bounced off his thigh and over the line and out of play.
It's interesting the difference in the running, Tim, as Peter Bell got a give and go, ran about 100 metres. Trent Croad stood with his hands in the air in the middle of the ground, not moving, wanting the footy. So you've got to run, son.
25,313. Saturday football. It's a pretty good crowd for Fremantle fans. And if they win this, bet your bottom dollar it'll improve even more. Croad, little toe poke, then he fell into the back, and Mercedes threw his body on the line. Correct decision by umpire McInerney.
Mercedes, very influential in this game, and we'll need to continue that.
Bit proppy
in this last quarter. 26 disposals already. His work inside the centre square has been excellent. Here's Barnard. Caught. Great chase by Croad. Ball spills free to McVeigh. McVeigh, long kick. Coops does better with Blumfield. It falls to Lee Brown, who's had a day out this afternoon. Grover has Farmer on the wing. I like him on the wing. I know he's not as damaging kicking goals out there, but he's a clever player, and they're going through him quite a bit. Pavlich thinks about playing on, doesn't.
But because of that reason, Matthew, has been dangerous, because he's been able to be someone they can go through. So, in fact, Essendon haven't paid him that much respect, and he's got away from Mark Johnson quite a bit.
Pavlich now decides to go to a long lead of Longmuir. It's not a bad kick, but it goes over the back to Barnard once more. Essendon need to find an avenue to goal. Jacobs in two minds, but eventually kicks across the ground. McAllister started on the bench. That's a clever kick, just squaring it up. And there's Joe Mercedes once again. Lloyd breaks now. Parker right with him though. He's done a good job. So Mercedes forced to go laterally to Ramanauskas. Ramanauskas now the kick towards Lloyd, but chipping in and taking the mark and doing a good job as Coops. There's Farmer once again. The kick not a good one. It suited Mark Johnson. Umpire pays the mark. Farmer not happy.
Definitely a mark.
Could have been away there, Fremantle. Coops didn't quite spot his target. McGrath. You just sense that Essendon to throw everything at him early, and Fremantle aren't quite as aggressive to the footy as they were just before three-quarter time.
No, it's fair call. It's fair call. In Fremantle's favour, they've got Medhurst, Seagate, McPhee on the bench, all good runners, pretty fresh.
Polak over the top, inside 50, reaching over the top, no free kick. Fans wanted a free. Jason Johnson threw his body on the line as he does every time. Here's Wellman, not a noted goal kicker, gets away from the tackle, wants to straighten on his right boot and slots a very important goal. You just sense Fremantle think that they've got this game covered in this far out, but the margin is back to 9 points.
Well, you'd hope they're not thinking that as Medhurst comes on for Lee Brown. Look at this commitment from Jason Johnson here. Got cleaned up by Longmuir, but put his body on the line. And they just persisted, Essendon, and Wellman, who's been quietish, played on the wing, did the right thing, turned, took a couple of extra corrective steps, so he didn't have to kick on his left foot, kicked on his preferred right, and a much-needed goal. 16 possessions, predominantly as a spare man and a cross wing, now in the forward line.
Well, Sean Wellman has got the all-important first goal for the final quarter to get them back to 9 points. Jason Johnson having to come off. The blood rule. Much debate about the blood rule over the past week.
Back of the head, he's got blood dripping down the back of his neck and onto the jumper. He would have got that in that collision where he put his body on the line.
So over 16 minutes remaining. Plenty of football to be played out. Which way will this game turn? Bell, which way will he go? Straight down the middle. Jacobs missed it. Farmer almost got it. Croad palms off, gets free from 50. Kicks it high. One-on-one. Tough ball to mark for Longmuir. Fletcher comes over the top with the spoil. Jacobs once again somehow got it over to Heffernan, does enough. He's got to beat a couple of Dockers though, and shows a lot of poise in tight and gives it over to Forster Knight. Now the Bombers start to run. Fletcher over the top to McVeigh. He's got a paddock to run into. McVeigh. They won't come at him. Chips over to McAllister. Bombers running now. Got an open forward line. They haven't had that a lot this afternoon. Alessio comes out. Can't quite get it. Walker there for the Dockers. Feeds it off to Norris. They go backwards. They're under pressure. And Troy Longmuir gets one too high and gets the free kick.
Joe Mercedes.
Poke in the eye. Troy Longmuir. He's going to go to the long option of Walker. Half back just outside his defensive 50. Reiterate the point, Fremantle Dockers hope they're not thinking about camping on this minuscule lead, because Essendon will make them pay. I think the Bombers are going at a better rate at the moment, even though they still trail by 9 points. Plenty of time in the game, 15 minutes remaining on the clock.
I agree with you, Tim. You can't defend the game from here in. You've got to keep attacking. You put the pressure on the opposition, not only in the scoreboard, but by body and everything. Keep the momentum going forward.
Carr. Kick to centre wing. Crode stayed on the ground. Jacobs did very well. He was the flyer. Punched the ball over the line and out of play. Danny Jacobs enjoying arguably his best season in the AFL.
He's only 19. He's still an exciting player, isn't he? He's got a lot of footy ahead of him.
And he allows someone like Wellman to go to a different position because he can play centre half back.
Alessio demanding front spot in that ruck contest. Blumfield. Ramanauskas. Tried hard, left foot kick, long way out from goal. Lloyd under pressure. He's going to get this back, Lloyd. He was on the ground, he bounced up, got it to Heffernan. He spots up a man inside 50. Pavlich demanded front spot and got it. Knocked down by Walker only as far as Rioli. Rioli spots a man inside 50. Hill, he's outnumbered here, Polak. It's 3-on-1 under enormous pressure. He did very well. And the crowd acknowledged Graham Polak, the Bombers, just needed a free shot on goal, and they probably would have reduced the margin even further. Yeah,
look, it was great thinking by Rioli to chip the ball wide, but his kick sat up a bit high, and then Polak, again, eye on the football, not concerned about the body, and you'll always come out in front with percentages there.
Rioli had it, lost it. Alessio under pressure. Masiti slaps it forward. Hill did well. Bell slung, almost threw it. For a minus score. So they are under pressure, the Fremantle Dockers. The margin back down to 8 points.
Trent Crode on the bench, just having a spell, as is Lee Brown, who has had plenty of possession. Brown, 17 disposals, but 13 marks, playing that loose man. Here's Walker. Essendon coming at the Dockers now. His target is Simmons, but he's got to beat Alessio and a flying Barnard. Barnard almost getting it. Cook to Haynes. Missed the body. Missed Longmuir.
Well done.
Did well. Strong over the ball. Got it back to Haynes to make up for his error. He gets it to Medhurst. Medhurst now. Long kick. Carr's got to go. Fletcher from behind. It falls over the back to Longmuir. He goes without it. Johnson loses his feet, gives it to McGrath. He loses the footy. Players dive on top of it. Cook wants to hold it in the air, and he does so. So the ball still in the danger zone for the Dockers. Exciting movement there by Troy Longmuir. Earned himself a rest.
Yeah, he just commits himself all the time, sometimes recklessly, but always for the cause of the team. Seagate on. He's picking up Jason Johnson. He's got his head wrapped in a bandana.
Just inside the forward 50. There'll be another ball up. Over 12 minutes remaining. Fremantle led by 15 points at three-quarter time. Essendon have got it back to 8. There's Jason Johnson. A lot of talk on the couch on Monday night about players being wrapped up and that they're going overboard with the blood rule. Much debate about that to come. Bell, Norris. Good quick work hands there by Haynes. Gets to the Bell. He's running. He's kicked 2 brilliant goals this afternoon. This one's out in front. It's just as good as kick because it's found Longmuir.
I was just watching Peter Bell there. He was as excited as he kicked the goal himself. His work ethic is extraordinary, and his preparedness to run for the cause, not always just to get the footy back as Carr comes off for a breather for McPhee. But the give and go sometimes is statistical. Some people say too much, but the setup there was perfect.
Well, he's kicked 3. 1 in each quarter, Justin Longmuir. He missed a couple early, and he's got back on target. This is a tough kick from this pocket. It would be a crucial goal in the context of this game. A lazy little run up. And he just, I mean, if ever a ball slid across the front, that one did.
3 goals through I've got for Justin Longmuir. Tim, thank you.
Correct. Haven't lost it. Romanowskis.
Not sure what I had.
Mark Johnson. That kick is wide. So Fremantle may have just lifted their rating in the last couple of minutes. As the Bombers laying down the gauntlet. The game is not won, that's for sure and certain. Just 9 points to margin. 25,319 people in. Cook.
Six people have come in the last quarter.
Yes. And 1 has left, and that was James Hird, unfortunately for him. Kick into the pocket, Medhurst and Forster Knight. I think Forster Knight's done a good job on Medhurst since coming onto him. Moving on.
Well, I think he's another player that some clubs don't pay enough attention to, Tim, and he got under the guard early, as did, mind you, Harvey for Essendon against Fremantle. So it works both ways, but good learning curve for the young fellow, both of them.
Justin Longmuir taps it down. Cook, there's a free kick. It's against Justin Longmuir. It's going to go to Fletcher. To Barnard. 25 out from his own goal. 9 points to margin. Just a tick over 10 minutes remaining in this game. And Barnard has a bounce and then kicks to centre wing. Simmons wanted front spot. There's Johnson. Jason punches up long. McAllister didn't have to change stride. McAllister looks up. The lead from Hill. Good mark. Good kick. And Hill will go back 25 metres out. Tough angle.
With the clever knock on by Johnson, Tim, it was just very smart, knowing the ball's going to be in the air. If he grabs it, he's a chance to be tackled. Pushed it forward very quickly, and then you're always a chance to set up there. This is as important a kick for Essendon as Longmuir's was previously.
Made his debut back in round 8 last year. So his hands full today. With Troy Simmons. An important kick in the game for Hill. He's bedded back for a goal. Bombers are in the contest.
Bombers get it back to 3 points, and I hope you're enjoying this uninterrupted AFL coverage right here on the Fox Footy channel as I turn my microphone back on.
Look, that's it's great persistence. There we see the punch forward by Jason Johnson. Some might say fortuitously, but you've still got to have someone running onto it. McAllister, who's reasonably fresh, hasn't had a lot of work to do today. It's important that his pass was effective, and it was. And then Hill really did finish very well for not a renowned goal kicker.
Just over Hill's first goal for the afternoon, but it's now 9 goals apiece, and now the margin just back to 3 points. They don't mind close finishes, the Dockers. Hawthorn down in Tassie, St Kilda earlier here this year. Over the top, falls to Heffernan. As play on, didn't go the distance. McPhee there for the Dockers. But cutting in first was McAllister. Masidi round the body. Jason Johnson there. Coming out Matthew Lloyd. Rioli. Oh, good work from Bell. Got it over to Norrish. Simmons was waiting out the back. He quickly goes towards Haynes. The kick wants to be good. Haynes has got to beat Blumfield on debut. Johnson did well. Somehow it goes back to Haynes. He needs to get rid of it. He backpedals, does well. Simmons, he's got some time now. Loping around the corner. Medhurst and Forster Knight. Longmuir, support. Farmer's on. McPhee spots him now. The Wizard, chest mark. Oh, he thought about it.
Sorry, Matthew, I didn't mean to cut in, but he drifted away. Mark Johnson was so intent on getting the football. Farmer took the forwards option, if you like, of sneaking back behind play. And it worked this time because his teammates kept control of the footy.
Kicked a goal in the third quarter as we see McPhee just spotting him there. And I thought for a second he didn't have enough on it, McPhee, and it was going to be a difficult one that may have bounced over Farmer's head, but it's enough. And Farmer, who kicked one in the third quarter, has only kicked 4 goals coming into this game. He's been playing on the wing this afternoon, but this is a very important kick.
He was recruited to kick goals.
And reverse angle. We'll just see what faces Jeff Farmer. And he slots it through. His second goal. More importantly for the Dockers, a bit of breathing space.
Very much so, and I've been, this is the most impressive game I've seen Farmer play for Fremantle. He hasn't played many, obviously, because he missed a couple in his first season at the club. However, in terms of his work rate and importance of the timing of when he's had the footy and the release player he's been when they've needed someone to kick to across the middle of the ground, when they've come out of defence under pressure, has been very important. And that goal also, obviously, very important.
Second goal for the day from his 12th kick, Jeff Farmer. 18 disposals, 8 marks. His best game. A very short time at Fremantle Dockers, but he's looked impressive just before half-time. But the Bombers won't lay down and die. That hand pass from Barnard missed its man. Norrish there. That all turned it over as well. Rioli under pressure. Simmons tunnel balls it out. Coops has been good. Norrish almost threw that to Cook. To Pavlich, McManus runs, Fremantle, he could have had a bounce, decides to kick, inside 50, Longmuir up, Justin takes the mark. First thought for Sean McManus was to pass to the leading Longmuir. He did have 20 or 30 metres space in front of him.
Yeah, he did, and it's not, this is probably sounding very super critical, he's led wide again, try and get up in the corridor between the two 50-metre signs on the ground.
3 goals he's kicked from 50, too close to the man on the mark. It'll land just on the goal square. Pavlich got hands on it, didn't take the mark. Well done, Barnard. And McVeigh.
That's deliberate, Tim.
Deliberate but smart. He went to the boundary line.
That's all he could do. Had looked up, there was nothing on around the 50-metre mark on the junction there. Have a look at this. No, we've missed it.
Gee, Pavlich would have been disappointed with that. He made position well. Still inside their forward 50. A chance to atone for Pavlich. Oh, can he do it? Oh, yes, he can! Perhaps that was in his mind, Ross. He thought, I've just mucked up a goal by dropping what I should normally take. He's just taken it upon himself to finish it off.
Look, it's been inspiring for Matthew Pavlich today. Early, particularly on James Hird, he set a real standard, which I think showed his teammates that they could take it up to the better side, which most people thought, other than a co-commentator of mine, that they were going to be a winner today. And in that inspirational type of play, which he performed earlier on, he's done it again. It's for a vice-captain, it's first class.
Just his 3rd goal for the season. And the crowd are starting to chant. They sense an upset. Last week, it was the Eagles who beat the Lions. Back-to-back weeks. Can the Dockers do their bit at Subiaco? They're making it a cauldron, the West Australian teams. They've no defeats so far at this venue. Simmons has been awesome today. Kicks to half forward. Bad bounce for Crode. Barnard. He's tried hard, Paul Barnard, and knocks the ball over the line and out of play. We'll have a throw in.
Tim, the really... The vexing question from particularly Fremantle's point of view, why this standard at home and why so poor away? You know, I mean, that's been the question for some time. I can't answer it.
Terrible they were last week against Geelong. But then again, maybe Geelong are better than we think. Heffernan in tight. McAllister goes to ground. McVeigh was held without the footy. Umpire Mark Getz was spot on. Ticked under 7 minutes remaining. Still, the margin is only 15 points. And with a man called Lloyd standing down in the forward line, anything can happen. That's the direction this kick takes, but Bell will float across at the champion half-back flanker that he is. Let's go to Lockie Reid.
James Hird, just an update on him. He's gone for scans to hospital. A possible fracture above the eye and also the nose. He's had blurred vision. He'll stay in Perth for the next couple of days.
Well, let's hope everything's all right for James Hird.
Indication too of Peter Bell's. Sorry, Matthew. Just Peter Bell's work rate. 28 possessions, having been tagged by Blumfield and now Ramanauskas. I mean, it's a real credit.
He certainly celebrated his 150th game in style. But there's still plenty of work to be done for the Dockers if they're going to upset this Essendon side.
Essendon haven't certainly by any means thrown in the towel. They just lacked someone to really spark them to take the ball forward and do something that was going to lift the rest of their teammates. They're just plodding at the moment, can't quite break free.
Alessio and Simmons. Tapped cleverly by McAllister, who's searching for Forster Knight or Johnson. Corey McGrath into traffic. Walker with the punch. Here's a chance to Forster Knight. Throws it on the boot. Wellman up forward, couldn't get it. Polak. Gee, that handball's into a bit of a danger zone there. Coops, good tackle from Wellman. Mercedes, what can Joe do? Around the body, a little bit too far. Ramanauskas couldn't get his hands on it. They needed that one, the Bombers, but just the behind to bring the margin back to 14 points.
I suppose if Fremantle do win the game, they have withstood one of the best teams in the competition, because there was no doubt that Essendon surged to come at them.
Oh, and Essendon haven't been in absolutely poor form. I mean, they still boast a very good lineup, you know, in terms of personnel. So you've still got to play against some very good players. So it's a real credit to Fremantle if you say, Tim, as you say, they remain in front when the siren goes. But it looks likely that way. 4
weeks ago, everyone was saying there was only 2 teams in the competition, Brisbane and Essendon. And times changed in that space of time. Collingwood have jumped up, Geelong. And Fremantle and West Coast aren't going too bad either. Good mark, Simmons.
He's been first class.
The conjecture about Troy Simmons and whether he was a good pickup for the Dockers.
I think he's proved that from the start.
Absolutely. Outstanding 2 weeks ago at this venue. Didn't have his best game last week, but he was no orphan there. And Fremantle can work it out, defensive 50. Polak will be loving this. Seagate, well, any game he plays is a bonus, elevated off the rookie list.
And the question mark too, Tim, about Polak being selected in the first instance on such very little game time, but he stood up all right, so...
Justified.
Exactly.
This is Haynes. Just under 5 minutes remaining. Goals have been hard to come by for both teams. Kicks to the contest. Alessio over the top of Brown. Farmer cutting in and just wiping a little bit more off the clock for the Dockers' point of view.
It was actually Matthew Lloyd right down on his respective half-back flank following Shane Parker down, so he's had to work far and wide for the few kicks he's had an opportunity to get. That's a free kick.
That should have been a free kick to Alessio.
That's a Mark Lewin sleeper.
Here's a go for Crowder. Got it to Bell, who gets it to the Wizard. He runs to 40 metres and yes, he puts it through. Celebrations galore by the Dockers as the Wizard gets his third goal.
Yes, and a couple of players there in Pavlich and Polak, the two Ps, coming down to say to Trent Crowder in that ruck contest. I thought there may have been a free kick for around the neck to Essendon, but the umpire didn't pay it, and so be it. That's his judgment. And Farmer, by gee, talk about the thickness of the paint there.
It almost confused me.
That's not difficult.
Thanks very little.
Jeff Farmer, 3 goals. Some criticism of Farmer and Crode and Simmons and obviously the recruiting staff of the Fremantle Dockers due to their lack of output, but they've certainly justified it today. They've been very good. Crode, not a superstar, but he's worked hard. His work rate's been good. And Simmons and Farmer have been outstanding. Close to the line and out of play. Stephen Coops and Troy Cook, former club champion. Blood rule for Trent Crode coming off the ground. It is fair to say there has been some criticism of Farmer and Crode and Simmons.
Oh, look, in terms of how they've played or the actual selection of them or recruitment of them.
I suppose justifying their recruitment with their form of the last month.
Which falls back on the player themselves, Tim. I think they were good selections. However, it's up to I thought Simmons has certainly been the best of them.
No doubt. And Haynes has played well today. To Bell, left foot. Pass tight to the line and over and out of play. 31 disposals for Jeff Farmer, 22 to Simmons with 13 marks, 17 to Lee Brown, 13 marks. They've had 332 disposals, Fremantle, alongside 268 for Essendon. Slapped down by Longmuir to Wellman. Fletcher should clear for the Bombers.
He's got Blumfield breaking for him. The defensive 50 out wide. Searching handball to McAllister. 20 points down the Bombers. They need to get a goal here. Next foray, Johnson. Norris to spoil. Too many numbers for the Dockers. Getting harder and harder for the Bombers now. Seagate into the sunlight, and Pavlich, just shielding his eyes, did enough to take the mark. He won't be in a hurry to play on.
It's an important win for the club, particularly Matthew, and they travel to Footy Park next week to play Adelaide.
How's that for a...
That's going back a fair way, isn't it?
Yeah. He's gone back 40 metres to Lee Brown for mark number 2,000,008.
I don't reckon you should be able to, my rule, you shouldn't be able to kick back inside your defensive 50.
And the kick from Brown is... well, I guess from the context of the game, it's not pretty what they've done, but they've taken 30 seconds off the clock, which is what they were attempting to do. Ross.
You're not allowed to go back over half court in basketball, and I just think it cuts
That's
out
why
this...
it's basketball, this is football.
Yeah, okay, you've made your point.
Tim Gossage talking to Wayne Britton during the week about basketball as Crode gives it to Peter Bell. 33 possessions in his 150th game. The torpedo off one step from Crode, gets 65 metres. Johnson does well on Farmer, body on body, forcing a boundary throw-in. Subiaco Oval. Round 6. No interstate side has visited here. And if Essendon are going to change that and come up with the first win, they need to do so quickly. Longmuir. Blumfield. Now he's got Jason Johnson. Got some space to run into. Farmer accelerates right at the last minute to force the error. Terrific work by Farmer. McAllister went without it. Hazelby down low. Ball up. Umpire Dean Margetts.
Seriously, Matthew, some rag said during the week that if Fremantle gets up and beats Essendon today, they should be swabbed. It's probably one club that could be swabbed. Do you think, Fremantle?
It's almost as silly as my comment about going back into defensive 50. And again, you've got a Brownlow, so you can get away with your comment. Half forward right, Fremantle. Carr shows the dummy to force tonight, then kicks into the pocket. Pavlich has to reach up and stretch. He does. He's right on the 50, or meets the boundary line. Inside the last 90 seconds, Fremantle to win the game. Essendon have lost 3 of the last 4.
3 of 4, find themselves 3 wins, 3 losses. Very unusual territory.
With James Hird set to stay in Perth for a couple of days with a facial injury, taken to hospital. Pavlich. Can he ice the game with a beautiful long kick? It's across the face, they'll fly, they'll contest, and Mark Johnson will be happy to see it through for a rush behind. 21 points the margin.
Look, the comparisons which you mentioned a couple of times with West Coast last week against Brisbane are very similar. Players just stepping up to the mark and not being daunted by the prospect of playing against a very good side. And across the lines, they've had very good players, Fremantle.
Trent Crowe did brilliantly, knocked it down to Hazelby. Hand pass to Justin Longmuir, steps right, then left, and goes back with a hand pass. He'll go short, and Crowe will reach up and take a mark.
Now, it would be a fitting finale if he does go back and kick the goal with, 24 seconds remaining in the game. That's if you're a Fremantle supporter.
He's kicked 1. Farmer's kicked 3. Simmons 1. And Medhurst 1. So between them, the recruits this year have kicked 6 goals. And Crode has a chance to make that 7. Out of 13, not a bad return. They've won the game. Chris Connolly's happy. And Trent Crowe can just put the full stop at the end of the sentence. And does. Dockers home by 27 points.
Wonderful performance by the Fremantle Dockers. They celebrate in style. Peter Bell in his 150th game. Another brilliant performance for him. 34 possessions, 2 great goals. And it's just been a wonderful performance. Admittedly, Essendon have had some injury problems, but to win by 27 points, Ross Subiaco is getting back to a place it used to be impossible to win at.
The thing being, Matthew, is that if you look at Brisbane and now Essendon travelling to a ground like this, it's a perfect ground. There's nothing wrong with it. You would think that it would suit the skills and good running of a team like Essendon or Brisbane. But very much so have West Coast and Fremantle taken it up to them and won the games.
Lockie Reid is on the ground with the man of the moment, Peter Bell.
Well, Belly, game 150, and what a win. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm really wrapped. The guys copped a bit of flack, and justifiably so, after last week against Geelong. It wasn't good enough. And to their credit, I knew they were in for a big game, and I'm really wrapped that it coincided with my 150, which is pretty much just a side matter.
And what about beating the Bombers? It's a pretty good effort. They're a great side.
Yeah, it is. We know it's tough for teams coming over here and playing in this sunshine, and the Bombers will bounce back. They're a great side, and look, they've had 3 successive losses, so we knew or 2 before today, and we knew they were a bit susceptible. They're a fantastic side, and obviously we must have played pretty well.
How do you celebrate the milestone, mate? Do you give a big yeah, you're beauty?
I'm just wrapped for the guy. I'm not really concerned with the milestone, to tell you the truth. I'm really wrapped for the guys. I think they deserve it. Put in a lot of work, and hopefully this is a stepping stone to better things.
Mate, thanks for joining us, and go enjoy the boys.
Thanks very much.
Essendon and Brisbane have travelled to Subiaco in successive weeks and come away with a loss. And Fremantle, only 2 wins last year, already after 6 rounds, 3 wins. And they're victorious this afternoon by 27 points over the Bombers.
Good on ya.